Yeah, so this is like a pretty just standard presentation that we give, just about the overview of the project, the vision, and what we're doing right now. So just a little backstory on me. Career-wise, I'm from New York. I started as a New York developer in 1996, and had the good fortune of really great timing of getting into the business at that time, and just learned it on my own, willed the projects to be successful through a lot of hard work and research, and created really a brand for our company for doing very high design work and boutique projects, starting in Manhattan and then moving into Brooklyn, and always bringing a lot of art into the work that we do, art and design. In our early projects, won a bunch of design awards and also broke pricing records in terms of, in their product category of, we sold condos and townhouses and things for price points that had not been achieved previously, and I think that was through just a lot of creativity. And so the big change happened to me in about my mid-30s, and I actually I purchased and really designed for myself and this penthouse in NoHo, and it was published in the front page of the New York Times House and Home section, and it was published really all over the world and won some design awards. And it was really, in my mid-30s, I had achieved basically everything that I hoped to achieve, and there was like a sense of, I was always working towards something, working really hard towards something, and then I had it, and then it was like, okay, well, now, like, what's my purpose now? Like, what am I working towards? Like a bigger home? I can't really have a bigger, it was a palatial home for one person, and almost felt really wasteful, actually. And so, and our work always had a, they titled this Profile Our Company Conscious Development. We were always very focused on building sustainably, but it was really at that stage of my life in mid-30s where I also sort of started on the spiritual path at the same time and discovering, really going inward, as well as being a part of different communities and seeing how that really positively influenced my life, that led to wanting to have a lot more purpose in the work that we do. And so the idea for Shift actually was birthed in around 2010. So it's been a long process of studying different housing models and really setting a goal of how do we use housing as a way to improve people's lives, which really spoke to me in terms of the social opportunity and having purpose in my work, but it also spoke to me in terms of the economic opportunity, because real estate is really a commodity. And so how I was really, from an entrepreneur's perspective, really intrigued by the idea of how do you create utility or value for people that has nothing to do with square footage, and how do you differentiate yourself as a company. And so that's sort of that was sort of the foundation for how Shift started. And so yeah, just, this is our mission statement, and you hear a lot of talk about regenerative communities and regenerative real estate. It's a word that's thrown around a lot. It's kind of like the new sustainability, which is, got kind of bastardized and thrown around a lot. And for me personally, I define a regenerative project as a project that leaves the land, the people who live there, and the surrounding community in a better place than when you started. It's net positive. It's a regeneration of something that has a positive impact on those three elements. Really, the blueprint for Shift, it's how, starting with me in terms of the way that I want to show up in the world, and then going down to our team here at Shift, and going down to all the people that we look to attract in the community. And a lot of companies have values and principles. Most people who work there don't know what they are, and they're just kind of something that looks good in marketing. But we really do take this seriously, and it is our way of attracting the people that we want, that we hope and are coming to Shift because they feel in alignment with it. So real quick, interconnectedness is, I'd say, the closest thing that we have to a belief system, but we're sort of very much the sort of we're not a belief system community. We're not setting out to be. We're not sort of the guru model where we expect people to adopt a particular belief system, but this would be the closest that we could come in that direction, which is just the idea that everything we do impacts everything else, whether it's other people, whether it's the planet, and that our actions, we view it as a salve against really a crisis of individuality that we're seeing all around the world. Environmental stewardship, everything that we do, we are putting the environment first, and that's our goal, and we want to attract people that care about that and want to live in that type of intentional nature. Self-inquiry, we look to attract people that want to do work on themselves, that want to, or ideally have already done it, but also recognize it's a lifelong journey and path, and that makes for a more robust community when you have people that are more self-aware. Things come up in group settings, and things need to be worked out, and it's a lot easier to work out things with people that are more self-aware than not. Accountability is actually, well, today's a good example. And it's actually one that we added as a result of bringing the project to Nosara, because this was originally envisioned as a New York project. And I find personally Pura Vida is sort of a double-edged sword. It's great that we have such a relaxing lifestyle here, but at the same time, I think a lot of people here are not great at showing up for things or for other people, we really want to balance that well of really enjoying all the relaxed nature of being here, but having a community of people that really can truly count on one another, and that when there's important things that people will be there. Generosity is again salve to individualism that we're seeing, and we live in this world where particularly from the States, there's just this sense that everybody's trying to take everything for themselves, protect themselves. There's a lot of fear around it, versus for anyone, say, who's ever been to Burning Man, to live in a place where people are just openly giving, because that's part of the instructions. And so we believe that if you live in a community where that's part of the instructions and that's part of the culture, and it's a culture of giving and gifting and helping each other, that it's just so much more enjoyable for the receiver and the giver to have relationships with people where people are more competing to be generous and kind rather than competing to take things for themselves, which is really the default world these days. And then play. We want to have fun, and we're doing a very serious project here. It takes an incredible amount of work and organization and other things, but personally, I'm a very playful person, and I think we all we lose our childlike quality as we grow up, and we're told to be responsible and serious and all these things, and I think we lose out on a lot. And I think it's a good reminder that we really, as a community, want to attract people that are having fun. And we had a call yesterday with a German couple that I think is ready to buy a house, and the guy actually, he's a clown professor. He teaches clowning, And we have another community member who actually has gone to clown school. So I told him that. I was like, I can't believe we have 2 people with clowning experience or a clowning on their resume. So, you know, very happy about that. So I think you guys all know where it is, but I think one thing that's special about the property is that we have 2 entrances and that we straddle 2 neighborhoods in Esperanza and Delicias. So we're going to drive in today on the Esperanza Road, and this is where the bridge is that's always under construction, and this is actually the turnoff. So we purchased an easement, this whole area, it's about 1 kilometer, through another private finca, and so we're super close to all of the, you know, to where we are right now. Like to drive from where we are right now to here, it's 6 minutes. I'm sorry, to here, it's 6 minutes to the entrance. And it's a really beautiful entrance. And it's probably another 2-3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes to get here. So I would say to the property entrance, it's about 8 minutes. And then at the same time, so what we loved about this property when decided to move forward with it was the price of it relative to how close we are. And there are this is actually the physical model, and you can see the topography. It's very hilly, and so you have really beautiful mountain views, and there's one area where we'll take you to that has an ocean view here. But it's really close, and that's the thing that we really liked about it. And it's very private and quiet, which you'll see. So we also have another access on so this is the main road of Delicias here. So if you're going to Garza or Nicoya or San Jose, you actually would drive out here. People who live in Delicias, actually the quickest way for them to get to Guiones would actually be through our property. We're going to have a gate for that reason here, because we don't want to be a thoroughfare, you know, for a lot of traffic moving through. But I'm more highlighting the strategic location of it. Yeah, just big picture on the metrics. We originally said 70% land preservation. Now we're at 75. We probably, after we get through a little more planning, we'll bump that up to either 80 or 85. So that basically means that as of now, we're committing to only building on a maximum of 25% of the land. And that also, just to be clear, includes individual lots. So each lot has its own regulations about how much a homeowner can build on that lot, how much they're able to cover, their total maximum square footage. And the thinking behind that is we don't want Shift to become like what we have here in Guiones, where economically it just makes sense to build on every inch of your property. If you have a house, you can build a guest house and rent it out, build some casitas, a little commercial space, and that's what you're seeing here. And then next thing you know, there's no more nature. So people who buy into Shift, they're limited in that income potential, but on the other side, we feel it's a lot more valuable that the entire community will always be a nature-based community, and you'll never have that situation of just of it being too dense.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is that maximum based on footprint size or total square footage of the house?
We actually have both.
Okay.
So on, actually I'll get to that in a second. I'll show you the way we planned it.
Okay.
Yeah. So just this is our master plan. This is the Esperanza side. That's the Delicias side. This whole area here, this is a seasonal river we have running through the property. And this whole area is our planned Shift Commercial Village, which we're planning basically at the end after we have most of the residents living here, and we have more of a critical mass. And if you think about the Guiones Nosara area, there's all these little little commercial sections, like we have one here. So little things, you know, in North Guiones, you have things like Gabby's, that little like planned retail hubs. The nice thing about what we're doing is there's nothing here that is of a larger scale that's actually been master planned. And so this whole project is master planned as a multi-phase long-term project, including the commercial area. So what we're envisioning here is, in this section, a hotel and co-working. On this section, this is sports recreation, holistic health, a gym, yoga, movement center, treatment rooms, recreational courts. And then right in the center, this is sort of our main commercial hub where we're planning a farm-to-table restaurant with food that we grow at Shift, a more casual cafe, juice bar, more similar to like Destiny or Sunrise type of vibe, and other retail that is all thoughtfully curated, and we plan to have a store that's selling products from the farm, you know, both fruits and vegetables, as well as, you know, tinctures and medicinals and things like that we're actually producing right at Shift. As well as a big arts program. We plan to have a gallery space, artist in residence program, and above the retail, rental apartments. And so that's in part just we want this to have sort of energy and activity, you know, from early in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. So there's a critical mass of people here and it feels active, but it's still really separated from the residential and will serve as an amenity for the residential. And this is, just to be clear, is all owned by us as developer. We're planning on building it, renting it out, us as developer will pay HOA fees because we're a condo, the same way that all the residents will be, but it's not sort of owned by the condominium. On the other hand, this is our 8-acre farm. This is owned by the condominium. So we've seeded it, I mean, no pun intended, but we've been working on the farm for 4.5 years. It's now being productive for the first time, and we planned that as soon as we bought the land, we started farming, regenerating the land on that side, so that when residents are living here, they have a meaningful amount of their food that actually comes from the land that you're living on. It's all 100% organic and clean, obviously very local. You know that the people that are working the farm and growing it, if people who live there actually want to work on the farm and participate and get their hands dirty, that's an option as well. And then where you see the numbers, each of these is actually a separate mini neighborhood. So we have 11 mini neighborhoods. They're legally sub-condominiums. So we have what's called a master condominium that governs the entire project. And then each individual neighborhood is a sub-condominium that has its own governance separately. So, you know, as an example, this neighborhood here has, we've planned it as 11 lots and 1 condo building. That neighborhood can decide its own rules within that neighborhood, but they still have to follow all of the guidelines that are part of the master condominium. And then I should have showed you here. This is our phase 1 here. It's called El Pachote. It's named after, because we have right here, we had originally included this as a lot, and then when we got there, we found was probably at least a 200-year-old huge El Pachote tree, and there was no way to build a house around it. We certainly weren't going to cut it down, so we made a amenity space and called it Jardín de Contemplación. And so this is a separate amenity hub, amenity space that's designed to be a quiet contemplation space, where we'll have landscape design and probably a water feature, a covered open air sort of deck area around the tree, which you'll see. And then we also here, this is really our main amenity hub, which I'll show you some visuals of that in a second.
We have Get Build, or what triggers that getting started?
We have it scheduled for the end of this year. It's all dependent on our sales velocity, which has been picking up just in the last few weeks. So,
Is there a certain amount that has to be sold?
yeah, and it's.
Is that public or is that just like
Well, for us, it depends on our whether our cash flow is very different if we sell a $500,000 house than a $1.2 million house. So basically, as soon as we have the cash flow from these initial sales, then we start construction of it. And we have it. We actually waive everybody's. As a condo, there's HOA fees. We waive 75% of the fees until this is finished, because it's our way of saying we're committed to it. Otherwise, we have to cover the fees, forever. So.
Long-term commitments, or like it has, like what if it's 2 years later, or like what to that can be built, like, because obviously that's market value.
Yeah, well, we actually, the way we're pricing it right now, we are not. If you look at the way we're pricing our homes relative to, say, other homes in Esperanza, I think we're at a discount. Certainly, given our level of design and what we're offering, that's not even including like a value driver for that we're going to build a $3 million amenity hub. So we're not actually asking people to like pay for it right now. You guys are trusting us to build it, and once we do, I think the pricing that we're charging now will probably be 1.5x, in just a couple of years once it's there and people could see it. But yeah, that's the only, contractually speaking, that's the only thing that we have to.
When do you start? When do you decide on when you start those?
Also the end of this year.
Is that
Yeah.
based on pre-sales?
Based on pre-sales, yeah. Yeah. It's really, this is our reputation. So if we say we're going to do this, and we're presenting this to a lot of people, and then we don't do it, and it's also, this is a small town. Everybody, like all of our early buyers, they don't have to, from my standpoint, they don't have to rely on legal documents. They can rely on our reputation of, like, if we don't deliver, if these houses aren't beautiful, this is a 7-year project, that we're doing in 4 different phases. And if the people that come early aren't really happy, how are we going to succeed so we're going above and beyond in everything that we do. And even when we're meeting with people right now that trying to find home decisions that work for them, really bending over backwards and working hard to get individualized solutions for people that meet their needs and their budget. And
There's 4 sold right now, or is that?
so this is actually a little bit, I have to update it a little bit. So yeah, this is a house we sold. This is a lot we sold to an architect who's designed his own house that he's going to build. This is a lot. Both of these is actually Carl, Australian artist that maybe, is he at Australia? Kids at Australia? His kid is Sage. I don't know if you. Carlito, yeah.
It's so funny because I met him like years ago in LA.
Okay.
Baby shower.
Oh wow. Okay. That's pretty random.
So I totally random, and we just saw him at the circus.
So Carlito bought 14 and his mom bought 11. They originally were planning on designing and building their own homes, and now they're seeing the cost of our homes and what's involved of their own construction process. I think they're probably going to instead have us build. We're going to amend their contracts probably for them to have shift homes.
Any of that bills
So.
scheduled already, like to start?
Well, let me finish just to outline because you asked. Let me answer your first question first. This one have a contract out. And this one have a contract out. I'm taking myself 13, and I actually I think in the next day or two, we have 8 and 12, both for the smaller version of the Bruma house. This is actually the German couple, the clown guy I was talking about. So just to the, in terms of timing of homes, we're just signing these contracts now for the homes. And we want to build at least 3 or 4 of them together. And what we do with our design process is, and I'll show you the houses in a second, but we bring all of the designs through what's called the design development stage. So there's 3 stages of design there's schematic, design development, construction documents. We take it through design development. That's enough so a buyer can really understand exactly what they're getting, what their finishes are. The construction documents is then all of the details of how to build the house. We don't invest in that until we sign a contract because it changes and we are actually modifying things for people, or some people say, hey, I love that house, but I want it on this lot instead, which is a completely different set of construction documents because it's different topography. So as we sign these contracts, we invest in the construction documents, we permit the houses, and all of that is about 3 months. And then we start construction. And so we are planning on doing our first phase of house starts in the next, call it 4 months from now.
Okay. When do you think those would be?
We're telling people 1 year. Yeah, and we might be able to do it quicker than that.
Could you be included in that?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's about a year and a half.
Call it a year and a half. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we expect people certainly to be living there by the end of next year. And we're really also putting in a lot of effort to concentrate construction in specific areas so that people aren't living in a long-term construction site. So we've broken this up into the green is 1A, the blue is 1B. We're not offering 1B. We actually haven't even cut this road yet. We're not selling 1B. We want to sell all of 1A. We've had a couple people who said, hey, I want a house at Schiff, and I want to get in on the pricing today, but I actually don't need it for a couple years. So for a few people, we have showed them 1B, and we're very clear about like, okay, that timing actually works. And then for everyone who's interested, well, for all the houses at Schiff, we have a provision that for people who, most people are actually interested in buying a house from us. That's what we're finding, rather than buying a lot and building their own house. People who do want to build their own house, they have a requirement that they have to finish construction within 3 years of closing, otherwise their HOA fees double. And the reason for that is projects like this, sometimes you'll get speculators, people, like what I was saying about the discount now versus after the amenities are built, they want to buy a lot and then resell it in a couple years and make money. And we don't want construction going on, and then disturbing others because someone was speculating. So if people love the community and want to be speculators, that's okay. They can buy a small house, they can buy a condo, they can buy, or even a lot in phase 2, and that's their way.
How many houses you can build at once?
No.
So
No.
if you sold that whole area,
Yeah.
you could build it all together.
Yeah, and so we have our director of development, Raymond Breeley. He's based in San Jose, and he travels here every other week. So this is his off week. Otherwise, I'd introduce you. He's a civil engineer and an MBA, and has 25 years of experience building projects in Costa Rica, and he's built over 100 projects. This is not a large project for him. And you hear these sort of nightmare stories about people building a house in Nosara, and that's really due to several factors. One is choosing the wrong contractors that aren't that sophisticated, and I would put almost all the local contractors in that category, not knowing how to manage them well, not knowing how to manage the architect well and make sure you have proper plans. So we know how to build. I mean, this is what I've been doing for 25 years. Raymond's been doing for 25 years here. And so we're working with larger contractors that can build 20 houses at a time, and that's just, you know, another project for them. So yeah. I'm going to get back to your question on the so because we're a condo, it gives us actually the ability to set very specific guidelines. So each of these lots comes with its own set of guidelines. And for each lot, we have a maximum footprint, a maximum amount of square meters people can build, a maximum height, and then an allowable footprint. So the allowable footprint is actually just where the house could go within the lot. And what we did is we worked with both our local architect and our New York architect, HWKN, and we master planned this whole neighborhood to maximize the utility for everybody. So this is very atypical. Usually every lot will have the same rules. And so if this person has a great view to one side and so does this one, and this person builds first, they might build their house right on the lot line, which really is not good for this person. And then this person might do the same thing, and you know, and there's a sense of competition among views and corridors and things like that. We try to plan this as much as we can so to maximize the utility for everybody. And we also have, if you see here, there's little outlines of trees. These are what we've identified as trees that are ideally we don't want to cut down. If somebody, so the houses that we're building, as much as possible, we're planting them around them. And by the way, none of these are like big heirloom trees. These are like secondary growth forest trees, because this was a farm not too long ago. And if anybody wants to cut a tree on their own land, they have to plant 10 new ones to replace it, and that's one of our guidelines. So yeah, I kind of covered some of this, but this is for people who want to buy a lot, build their own home. We have design guidelines around both sustainability requirements and aesthetics. So everything in this neighborhood has a overall architectural language of tropical modern. And so if somebody wants to build a English Tudor house at Schiff, we wouldn't allow, or even a Spanish colonial house. Maybe a modern interpretation of it would be fine, but a traditional Spanish colonial house, we feel like that would actually stick out, and we wouldn't allow that. So we have a design review committee that reviews. We actually did the first one for the architect who bought in lot number 9, and then also around sustainability. So all houses are, whether built by us or by others, have to recycle their gray water. All have to have rain gardens. All have to have their own on-site solar panels, solar generation. We also provide a basic battery backup. Solar
panels
for the house itself.
to run all power, or to
No, as you know, everything is on grid here, but we want, even though Costa Rica gets most of its power from renewables, it still has environmental impact because of the dam. It's almost all hydro, and the dams that are created, they do actually have a negative environmental impact. So there is a benefit of.
But these solar panels would run part of their electricity?
Yes.
Just feed back the grid, or?
Yeah. So we have 8 homes designs that all run through. And so this is if somebody just wants one of our homes on one of our lots. We have a price for each home on each lot, and that's pretty straightforward. If there's a little minor modification, we have been sort of just making those changes while we're negotiating the contract period, or even before we send someone a contract. If somebody wants something that's a bigger modification, we are signing a contract to sell them a lot, and then we are offering to, after the contract is signed, we will go to work at our cost, and we'll front the design fees to modify one of the homes to meet the needs and goals of that particular buyer. So if someone says, well, I really like the Bruma house, but I want it bigger, and I want it, you know, an extra bathroom and a pool, and we'll we will give them a price, give them a new design, and we're willing to spend the money from our side because we know the prices we're giving are really good. But if someone really doesn't like it, then they can build it themselves or build a completely different home themselves. But that's just something that we'll do to sort of customize. We're calling it semi-customized. If somebody wants to do something totally different, that's really a unique design vision. That's something that they would do on their own, under this plan. And then 13 condos, which we'll show you in a second. This is our pre-ownership program, and that's really designed for people that want to be a part of Shift, but not quite yet. And we offer, people can invest money in the project as debt, and they accrue interest at 12% per annum. And that accrues, and then in the next 3.5 years, at any time, they can convert it to a real estate purchase. So it allows them to join the community now. Some people, like feeling a part of the community now, and even participate in co-creation and getting to know people and coming to our annual La Siembra event. But also their money can be working for them. And so we are able, and if they change their mind and want to decide they're not going to live at Shift, we will still pay them back, but the return goes down to 8%. So that's still an okay interest rate for us at 8. 12 is, I think, very high relative to the associated risk, but we're okay paying it because we're essentially locking in a future sale, and we have a good profit margin so that we're able to pay people 12%. And just to put that into context, we have today about $3 million of liabilities at Shift, and we recently reappraised the property and it appraised at $19 million, just to give you a sense of the loan to value or the risk associated with that program.
It's just the lot prices, but do you have actual home prices?
Yeah, I'm going to get to it. Yeah, yeah,
For each lot, or
yeah, yeah. Well, here we go. Well, here's the lot range. So this is what I was saying before, sort of something for everybody. This is the most expensive, largest lot. And yeah, this is a drone shot of the sort of that center island where we have six lots. We are an HOA. We are a condominium. There's a lot of community projects that are planned and going on around Costa Rica, and there is really no way to enforce community guidelines or regulations unless a project is a condominium. So you see actually a lot of projects, including some in town, that have an HOA, but it's really, there's no way to actually enforce it, including if someone doesn't pay their HOA fees. There's nothing you can do to that besides, shaming, but there's actually not a legal protection for people who don't pay. And you actually see that in like Iona's Beach Club, that they have all these rules about how you can turn it off. Oh. So yeah, like Iona's Beach Club, there's a lot of rules about what people can build, and people started breaking it, and then someone breaks it and someone else sees, well, they didn't follow it, why should I follow it? And next thing you know, there's no more rules there. Like every inch of the properties and the heights and everything, perfect example of things that are just not being enforced. So, but this is just really covers what the HOA fees are used for. And ours range from, for homes, they start in terms of our first year projection at $260,000, go up to about double that, and that's before the 75% credit or waiver until the amenity hubs, dollars per month.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's the low end.
Sorry?
What's it based on?
It's actually based on the allowable buildable square footage. So remember I said each lot has regulations, that particular regulation. So if you buy a lot where you can build 400 meters, some people will build 400, some people will build 200, it's actually the same HOA fee. That's the fairest way we can come up with of how to to kind of
260 is the minimum one, you say?
260 is for actually, I'm just realizing, no, for some of our really small lots, I think I have it in here actually. Give me 1 sec. Let's see. So yeah, these are our 8 home designs. This is our price range. The 490 ones are no longer, well, we have, the contract isn't signed yet, but I think it will be in the next couple of days for that was the least expensive home we were offering. We're still offering it. It gets slightly more because it's on a more different, like more expensive lots. And I'll just run you through them sort of. In terms of design, we originally, Void is our Costa Rican architect that has done has led our master planning work. HWKN is a New York firm that I've been friends with the principal there for over 10 years, worked with them for a long time. Started working with them when they were sort of this up and coming firm, and now they're really like a globally known design firm they're designing like full cities in Saudi Arabia now and things like that. But we have this really great relationship, so they've been down here. The principal, Matthias Holwich, will say, I get paid, my money from the other projects, and I get paid other ways by working with Blesso Properties and the types of projects that we do, because they really share our values. They're the sort of design consultant for the project holistically as a whole. And they also design 2 of the homes and the amenity spaces for us. Terraform One is also New York based. They're a nonprofit design consultancy, and the founder, Mitch, actually has also come down here and visited us, and they're doing some of the most pioneering things in the world in terms of sustainability, in terms of their mission is to stop planetary extinction, and we're working with them for identifying local materials that we can use here in our building process. So one of the first ones we're planning on starting with is coconut, actually taking the coconut, the waste from the pipas, which there's hundreds of them produced right out in our backyard that I watch every day, and making a building material out of them. And it's really beautiful, and it's cost effective, and obviously very environmentally sound. But they've also worked on some art installations for us that are beautiful, but also have an ecological benefit. And they're really pioneering design, bio-design, living design things. So just a little bit about it. And then we actually have 3 other architects that we're working with from Costa Rica and Mexico. So this is our entry-level house. This is the one where I was saying that the contract is out. This one we started really as with the price point. We wanted to be able to offer a house that was less than $500,000 that was really beautiful, and it's being really well received. We have had actually more interest in this house than any, and I think we're assuming if 2 of these people sign the contract that are currently considering, that would be 4 of them, and we would probably maybe only sell 1 more and raise the price a little bit on it. So anyway, that's Bruma del Bosque, and here's just some other images of it. I think this, Bruma del Bosque means mist of the forest. We designed this to be really light on the lands with the idea that there's mist underneath the house, and so it is built on stilts sort of above the land, and has a lot of natural finishes, clay tiles for the roof. Casa Icky. So one thing just in general about our philosophy for house design, these homes are all tropical modern, but we wanted each one to be a little bit different and have to appeal to different people. So this house has a Japanese influence. Ikki is a Japanese word which embodies the essence of refined simplicity. And but it's obviously, this also looks very Costa Rican. It's very, you know, still in the tropical, modern vernacular. And yep. Yeah, and just some other images of it.
3.5, was that a den?
Sorry?
It's like 3.5 bedrooms, it's like a den.
Yeah, and actually this one we have flexibility. It could even be 4 bedrooms. We have like a couple different floor plan options, but when we say half, it's usually like a home office or like a baby's room, like a, you know.
There's no window or just?
No. It has a window. Yeah. It has a window. It's just smaller. Yeah. Arroyo Escondido. So on lot 8, this is we actually have a seasonal stream that runs through the lot, and so we actually built this house as a bridge to go over the stream and kind of solve for some challenging topography. This could either be 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, and this is really the like a modern reinterpretation of the classic barn. Since we're near the farm, we kind of like the idea. And this is we'll show you the other one in a second. But yeah, exposed beams. We're planning on actually having a piece of structural glass in the floor, so you could like look down and see the stream flowing underneath your home. We thought that would be a really cool feature.
Is there a price for that, or?
$790. Yeah, sorry, this was our last one to price because it was a little more challenging. This is Arroyo Escondidos times 2. Dos Graneros means 2 barns. And this one is one of my favorites. HWKN designed both of them. And just doing a lot of really cool things with geometry, with angles. You know, if you kind of see is like this entrance here, and how you know, these inverted triangles all over the place, and you know, the way the pool is in the middle, you know, taking the inspiration from something that's old and utilitarian and making it, you know, really high designed in a tropical context. That's Jardín Interno. This is void.
Does it come with furnished?
It can. The price does not include furniture, but we will do furnishing. We'll do interior design, furnishing, landscape design, and install. Those are all like add-on options.
Estimates for like what 1% or how much that is?
It all depends on people's budget. Yeah, I mean, people have very different sort of you know, tastes and goals. So we have a lot of a number of homes, of lots where the road is at the top. These homes, the road is below. This is actually the highest point from 18 to 23. Most of the rest of them, the road is at the top, and the homes actually slope down in the back. And so they have a really nice view out the back. And so we designed this home to take advantage of that topography, so that it actually, from the street level, it looks like a 1-story home, but like it's basically an upside down house, and the bedrooms are built underneath it, and you walk down to the bedrooms. So, the key feature of this home is actually a garden in the middle. The name is a play on words. You know, Eterno means forever, like forever garden, but it also sounds like interna, which is, you know, central garden, and it has a central garden.
3,500 square feet, 1,800 internal, 470.
Yep.
So how does that? 1,800.
Oh.
470.
Internal area, it's a mistake. This number is,
Is it?
yeah,
Is it 3,500 or which?
it is 3,500, but these numbers are off. Can you make a note of that? Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it is 3,500. The numbers are off. Sorry about that. Yeah, and just some photos there. You know, focus on a lot of indoor, outdoor living in this one. Flor de Vida, this is Jaime Pena, who is Mexican, well, actually originally from Colombia. His office, he's now in Mexico. And here we're doing, this is inspired by sacred geometry in a sort of spiral pattern or Fibonacci curve, and using a lot of natural materials, bamboo, clay, earth blocks, natural sealants, and he's built a house similar to this in Costa Rica already, so it's not the first time it's being done, but there aren't many houses like this in Costa Rica that are really pushing the envelope in terms of sustainability, the way that this one is. And this is also, this lot here has one of the best views. Probably these two probably have the best view of this whole neighborhood. If you're at the higher end here, you have a 360 panoramic view all around. And this is designed as a biopool, so it's actually not chlorinated, not salt water. It's designed to be filtered by plants, and it moves water and it's filtered by plants. Alba Nueva. So we've already sold one version of this house right here, 22, to some good friends of mine. And this is also designed to take advantage of lots that have great views. So it has an entire, the third story is an entire roof deck.
Those numbers are off too.
Oh yeah, it actually says the same as the last one. Okay. This is correct as well, 30, total including everything, including the roof deck, is 3,900. So yeah, just some images of that. And then the condos, so starting at 179,000 and going up to 990. 990 is if someone wants the penthouse, which is this entire floor here. We also have the option of one apartment here and one apartment there. So it's sort of flexible depending on who buys first. And then on the other side right here, this is a common area for actually all residents, not just in Los Nidos, but it's basically an extension of the amenity hub for people that want to have a, a cocktail for, sunset time, or, just really appreciate the view. This backs up to the farm behind, so it has a really nice.
Have an ocean view from the top?
No, none of these have ocean view they all have mountain views, yeah. And this is just, the size options for those who want the condos, and the pricing on them. And here's the amenities, give you a sense. Oh, it looks like it's loading slowly, but I'll let you read the uses first. It's called La Colmena, which means the beehive, which we called it that because it's a place where people come back and gather, but it's also, the design is kind of inspired by a beehive as well. It's got all these little pods, and I'm not sure why it's not, oh, there we go. So yeah, this is really the heart of not just El Pachote, but we actually have 4 main amenity spaces for the entire project, and this is one of them. We wanted to build it early, just so people could see it. We have another similarly sized clubhouse planned for the other side. Then we have another in an area where you'll hike to, which has an ocean view, which is in El Sanctuario, which is an adults-only amenity space where we're planning a hammam and spa and event space and a lounge. This is very, family-focused. And then we have one other amenity space, which is a maloca, or a ceremony space, that is kind of also at one of the highest points, deeper in the woods, only really reachable by walking. And so those are kind of our 4 main amenity zones for the whole project. And then each individual neighborhood has its own amenity space as well, just for that neighborhood. But in the case of this, because it has the clubhouse, this is for that neighborhood and everybody. What's that?
Is that an active restaurant plan? Or just
It is an active restaurant when we have enough critical mass of people living there. I wouldn't, rather than a restaurant, it's really a commercial, communal dining operation, so that we're envisioning having dinner Sunday through Thursday, breakfast buffet Monday through Friday, where people pay by the meal, and the staff that is preparing those meals is an HOA fee that is offset by the fees that people pay for the meals. And so we've done the math on that. It's actually more affordable for people to eat together in a scenario like that, rather than people, especially if you're going to Organico, but even if you're going to Super Nosara, just by doing everything in bulk.
When, once the entire project is completed, we're welcome to use any of the community like hubs.
Yeah.
Not just the one we live in.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. Yep. Well, except the individual amenity hubs that are just for the small neighborhoods. So remember in the master plan, so like here's a neighborhood right here, you'll have a dozen houses around it, and you're going to have a small amenity area. That's actually just for this neighborhood.
Okay.
So actually El Pachote is the only neighborhood that has a community-wide amenity hub within it. All the other amenity hubs that I mentioned, the 4, one of them is in El Pachote, the other 3 are in green space, are separate. So does that make sense? So you can use any of those 4.
Okay.
The only thing you can't use is somebody else's neighborhood amenity hub. Not, I mean, as a practical matter, like your kids are friends with their kids, and I'm sure it's going to happen, but in terms of the governance and the way it's structured, yeah, that's the way we organized it.
Just out of curiosity, how are you controlling access in those situations to who can get into what?
I think it's really in the category of like, you don't have to worry about it unless a problem comes up.
Okay.
So it's like,
System.
yeah. People, I mean, we have community guidelines, and if somebody's causing a problem and breaking some rules and someone complains, then you have to deal with it. I think, yeah. But if you live in this neighborhood, I mean, the most common thing is, a family lives in this neighborhood, they have kids, the kids from this neighborhood come over and play in the pool in this neighborhood. I don't think anyone's going to have a real problem with that. Yeah, so, but.
I'm just thinking in the sense of like, if there's a sauna in one neighborhood but not in mine.
Yeah, all of the sort of special amenities are not in any individual neighborhood.
Okay.
So yeah, so the sauna is up here, and it's to be used by everyone.
Got it.
Yeah, the Maloka is actually right here, and it can be used by anyone. The other clubhouse is here, and it's not part of any neighborhood. It's separate. El Pachote is actually the only one where over there where we have an amenity hub that's inside a neighborhood, and within the bylaws, it's just addressed that way, that other neighborhoods can come to El Pachote to use the amenities.
Is there like a lot of parking for El Pachote, like people from the neighborhood?
Yeah, we actually have we took one lot and that we were planning to have a house on, and we instead took it out of the inventory to use for overflow parking near and behind El Pachote, so it's not that, not so visible. We're trying to make cars as less visible as possible. So we have community guidelines. We've studied communities and community structures, living models that we have been successful, and we also employ a very experienced consultant that's consulted on all sorts of different community projects to review them. She actually literally wrote the book on living in community, and we've put a lot of thought into them. And our job as the developer is really to set Shift up to succeed in what we feel are best practices, but all of these guidelines can be changed in the future by a will of the people, a vote of the people. And there's a condo board, there's an annual meeting, that's when people can say, hey, we can consider changing a particular guideline. But yeah. Well, Hannah walked in right in time for the community alignment process. Hannah is the head of our community, our director of community, of all things community. So we do have a vetting process that Hannah leads a community committee of other people that are planning to live in the project, and we have an interview of everybody that wants to live at Shift, just to make sure that the alignment feels right. And what we learned in community is we're generally very self-selecting. I mean, one thing that Andy and I have talked about that's been great about this project is we're constantly meeting amazing people. Like the people that we are attracting are really awesome people. Like we haven't, you know, it's rare that we have someone come through that we are like, I don't know if this person's a fit. They're just not into what we're doing if they're not a fit. That being said, we still have a vetting process. Just a little bit about our farm, a few metrics. We've been working with a company called Porvenir Design that they're really, I think, the best people in this country for doing permaculture work, syntropic farming, agroforestry, and we hired them right at the beginning. They're still with us. They originally set us up. Now they've set us up to succeed to a level that they can just oversee every couple months, taking a visit, making sure you'll meet our farm managers that we've since hired, that they helped us hire. But we've really already transformed the whole area that is our farming operation. And we envision the whole project as a farm, but we have this 8-acre intensive farm that we're focused on now. And after we build in other areas, like after we build in El Pachote, we'll actually then go in and plant more fruit trees and more reforestation as well. And we'll do it in phases.
How did residents get access to the produce? Just
We're planning on selling it and giving residents a significant discount to it. Just as a means, some want some and some aren't here, some are here part of the year, so that's how we're.
it's like a farmer's market, or you just
It's yeah.
what you wanting to eat?
We haven't worked out the logistics of it quite yet, but there'll be some things that we're growing. Like we'll have more bananas and plantains you'll see today than people on shift can possibly eat. We'll probably have more jackfruit and breadfruit than people could possibly eat. There's other things that we probably will run out. So it also depends on the product. And yeah, just some of the metrics to date of, and we'll just continue with this. And in fact, we'll probably up it after we close our first sales of homes and kind of do even more in terms of planting sort of the rest of the land and going outside of our 8 acres. I think I already talked about the pre-ownership program, so I'll skip this. And that's it. So.